Today we're going to talk about how to ditch your script and just yap on camera. Let's talk about how you can get rid of that script and start relying on your heart and your head to get your message across. Yapping seems to be this new great wave of talking on camera, and I'm so glad that there's sort of a word for it and it's being recognized for its own art form, because speaking off the top of your head can be difficult for a lot of people. But I think once you get going with it and it becomes a well-oiled machine, it'll be something that's easier and easier for you. When you yap on camera like this, you're actually opening yourself up to a whole world of possibility in terms of topics and ideas that never would have come into your consciousness during your scripted portion, because you're so focused on delivering the script and saying the words right that you're not actually giving yourself permission to go into the topic and explore what that topic has to offer. And so we're going to do that here today. This whole video is an example of how I would do this. Typically, I just give myself time to think, right? These videos, when you're recording them, you're not live most of the time. And if you are, then give yourself some strong talking points. You know, there's a right time for a script. Scripts are always going to be useful in that there's something that you can rely on. There's something you can come back to. But I think that when you're talking on camera and it's sort of freestyle, there's no script, that's when you start to see a person's personality come through, and that's when you start to see the heart of the message come through as well. I've performed a ton of interviews, and I often see when people have nothing else to say, when you hit them with a question they weren't expecting, they have to speak from the heart because they have nothing else prepared. And so the only thing that they have to rely on is kind of that raw emotion, that raw thought process behind the idea. Give yourself permission to mess up. Maybe you record an entire video and then you throw it out. That's fine. No one has to see it. You know what I mean? This is a trial and error part of your development as a speaker and in your ability to speak off the cuff. What I want you to do is write down bullet point form the topics that you want to talk about without a script. Record yourself talking about these topics and give yourself a solid 10 to 15 minutes of just speaking to the camera about this topic and see where your shortcomings are. Is it that you feel like you can't provide enough substance to make the video worth creating without a script? You got to learn how to convey that thought pattern and allow that thought pattern to develop out loud on camera. And the more that you do this, the easier that it becomes, and you'll grow a confidence in being able to just speak it out, right? That's very much the method that I use within these videos. I know what I'm going to talk about generally, and then once I get into it, all the ideas start flowing into my head as I'm talking. And from there, you're able to really sort of make a decision in terms of the direction of the conversation. It's a freestyle thing, and not everyone's comfortable with that, and I understand. If you're watching this video, you may be a public speaker, you may be a content creator. This skill of being able to just talk to the camera and not get too caught up on what exactly you have to cover is such a freeing feeling. Not every idea that you have that you're going to talk about is going to land, and that's fine. Edit it out, right? This is a trial and error process. You have to put in the reps to get better and better and better at it. Next up is I actually want you to keep a journal. And the power of writing is exactly that stream of consciousness, that sort of reaching into the depths of your mind and pulling out a message, pulling out meaning, pulling out thoughts. The more that you write your thoughts down on paper, I find it's the easier time I have thinking about things. I think some people naturally probably have a very strong inner dialogue. I think I do naturally, but also when I write, that tends to get stronger. That ability to just sort of talk off the cusp becomes easier, because the more that you write, it's like speaking out loud, except it's all on paper, and so it just becomes a way to process your thoughts more quickly and on the spot. And the more that you do that, the more that you're going to develop patterns into your speaking skills. One of them for me, for example, is I like to talk about the way that I think. For me, that's a very interesting topic that I can apply to a ton of different categories and video topics. Like right now, for example, right? We're talking about your ability and your skill to speak off the cusp without a script. In order for me to analyze how good I am at that thing, I have to think about my own thinking, right? What are the things that I'm comfortable speaking about? What are the things I need work on speaking about? These are topics that I would spend time with if I were you, and I would figure out what those things are. That way, when you show up without a script, you're sort of able to push the conversation into that direction that you know you're going to just grab something and run with it. For me, I love to analyze how I think and talk about how I think and sort of the philosophy behind ideas and really find a groove within that. And once I have that, it's just kind of like it's a light bulb moment. It's a sort of, okay, I've got this by the horns now, let's go. And that's a really powerful feeling, is relying on a framework that you've used in the past, applying it to the topic that you're trying to cover, and watching yourself run with it. I think if you can develop that, you'll have a much easier time speaking on camera without a script. I think the value in talking to a camera without a script, or speaking in public without a script, it really shows a window into who you are as a person, your energy, your vibe, the way that you discuss topics. All of that becomes clear when you're doing that sort of stream of consciousness style speaking, that yap style speaking that's becoming more popular today. Being more and more comfortable with going into a situation where you have to speak on camera without a plan is going to make you a much, much more authentic sounding creator. Everybody can write a script, and I bet most people are using AI now. My point here is that with everybody doing this, right, we need authenticity from people. We need to hear real people, real voices, real thoughts, real emotions. These are the types of things that AI cannot replace. It can fabricate a script to try and sound like it's expressing these same elements. But you, in the flesh, as you are, who you are, like, that has a lot of value. Don't underestimate the value of yourself, right? We all do it, especially as small creators. Small creators have a really hard time thinking that they're worth it. And I think that we've gotten into a culture where we base our value off of likes and shares and views, and we don't think about the substance of what a person is talking about, or who the person is that's saying the thing. And that's such a core component to all of this. And when you write a script, especially an AI script, but when you write a script, you do remove that vulnerability from the camera. And I think people now more than ever want that vulnerability. That is the thing that we are all craving from one another, I think, whether we consciously acknowledge it or we don't consciously acknowledge it. That authenticity is something that we're going to be starved more and more and more of, because the reliance on AI is going to become so strong that, the reason yap style content, I think, has surfaced right now in this generation, in this specific time period, is so that people can get a taste of someone's authenticity, to feel another human being's presence, their energy, their aura, as people say now. You know what I mean? Like, this is the unscripted raw version of Nate. This is how I process thoughts. This is how I like to have a conversation. I love talking about ideas. I love talking about the way that we think about ideas, the creativity behind it, the implementation of it. I'm not trying to limit how far I can take those ideas in a video because I've scripted myself. It's like, oh, I covered my points. Yep, good to go. Sure, I'm sure that has a lot of value, right? Maybe you have no time, or maybe that's the way your brain works. I understand that. I get that. Give yourself permission to try without it. Give yourself permission to screw up and to just fall into a stream of consciousness. When I sat down with this camera to record this video, I felt some friction because I didn't have a perfect plan. And I'm wondering, is this even worth doing? The bugs are bad out here. Should I even be sitting out here talking to the camera tonight? Should I be using my time to do something else? But as I'm talking, I'm realizing, through my own thoughts and speaking to the camera, that this is exactly what I needed. And this is what I want my channel to be about and my videos to be about, is sort of that raw, unscripted thought, so that you can join in and feel like you're a part of a conversation. And not that I'm talking at you, but that we're creating a community. I think that will be much easier when you get a sense of who I am and the way that I speak and the way that I like to talk about ideas. When you get a sense of what that is, I think we can build a really great community here. The world is heading in a direction that none of us have control over as individuals. But I think that there is a craving for authenticity, for people to be themselves and to absorb that into our lives more. I think it's happening unconsciously. But I think through videos like this and through videos where you allow yourself to go unscripted, we get to enter into that realm of a realness, a rawness, less scripted, curated, performative. Like, these are words that I would associate with content in 2026. Everybody wants to be perceived as something that they, for some reason, have decided is valuable or will make them popular or successful, or it's always about attaining something, right? It's always about attaining something physical or attaining something more than which you have, or something different than which you have. And another reason why we should be allowing ourselves to go unscripted is you have an opportunity here to just get in the moment with yourself and with your audience. Had to switch it up here. The sunlight's changing on me. Being performative, curating your content, trying to be someone you're not. I mean, this is the foundation of social media. But I do think that there is this sort of resurgence of people seeking out real people and wanting realness, wanting realness from people, and wanting that raw authenticity that seems to have disappeared behind the guise of curation and performance. And you get the point. But what I'm trying to say here is that when you give yourself the opportunity, and that's what it is, you're giving yourself an opportunity here to grow, really. Hello, Crow. You're giving yourself the opportunity to grow as a creator, as a person, as a thinker, a person with original ideas. That's what we need, I would say, in today's age. When I hit record on this video, right, I had no idea the direction that this was going to take, but I'm so glad that it's taken this particular direction, because really what it comes down to is your ability to speak unscripted is how comfortable are you with showing up with just yourself. A big part of this is, are you okay being who you are, and that's it, on camera, and drawing from that to conjure up the ideas and the talking points for the video? Are you okay with that? The answer is probably no. You think that you're lacking in some way. You think that you don't have what it takes, or your ideas are bad, or you can't rely on your ideas without the help of AI or a script or whatever it is. But the truth is that there's a part of you that is uniquely you, that nobody else has, that we need to hear from. All of us. I truly believe that, Now more than ever, give yourself that opportunity to just sit down and be okay with screwing up. It doesn't matter. Be okay with embarrassing yourself. Upload a couple of videos. If they get 2 views and you get unfollowed by a couple of people, so be it, man. So be it. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're putting yourself in a position to grow, to become better at your craft, to become better at the thing that you're passionate about. And then we, the audience, the people who care, your particular audience, gets to enter that world with you. You get to provide that space. And that's the beauty of social media, and that's the beauty of posting content. So many superficial elements kind of wiggle their way in, and next thing you know, you're trying to be someone you're not just to get views, because you think the views are going to improve your life somehow or make you money, but then you're caught up in not being yourself to make money. Like, are you an actor? I don't know. It's just like when you really start to spell it out and you really start to break all of this down, you realize, just how silly it all is. But there is a really great opportunity here as well. I think, the ability to build a community online, or share your voice, or connect with other people. Don't forget that you have a unique value. You have a unique way of thinking, a unique way of looking at the world, and we should be exploring that together. So thanks so much for watching this video and listening to me yap. I'm happy to do it. I'll be doing many more videos like this, in this exact style. Talking off the cusp without a script is something that I've always loved. The possibilities for you, the opportunities for you, the growth, the sort of finding yourself. That's another huge part of this. Just when I thought we were done here. Look, you get an entire lifetime to learn who you are and sort of build this relationship with yourself. When you go unscripted, it may seem like, Nate, it's not that deep, but just hear me out. Maybe it is. Maybe talking unscripted opens up a door for you into finding out so many hidden parts of yourself, hidden parts of your personality, hidden skills, ways of thinking and frameworks that are unique to you that you're able to share with the world. I mean, these are incredible facets. These are incredible pieces of you that make you you, that will never be shown or brought to life because of a fear of needing a script so that you're perceived a certain way, or that you get a check mark of, this is the value I said I was going to provide and I've done it. Boom. I don't blame people for using scripts, and I don't think that they're bad. I'm saying when you do that solely, when you solely use a script and you don't give yourself the opportunity to speak off the cusp, to speak from the heart, you may be keeping a door shut and locked on a whole other realm of you, a whole other list of personality traits or skills or ways of thinking or methods that are so totally unique to who you are as a person. All of that could be left on the table out of a fear. We've got to learn to be okay with messing up in front of people. I mean, it's kind of endearing, right? I think the curation of social media is like what people aspire to be, but what's wrong with who we are now? What's wrong with you being you and me being me and showing up that way and just speaking about where you're at now and speaking about your ideas and your ways of thinking and your frameworks? Like, let's hear about where you're at right now, And then when it's documented, you can look back in 10 years and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I decided to open myself up to myself. I don't know, man. That's a whole lot of yapping. Try it out. Let me know how you make out. Send me a link. I want to hear you talk. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers.